Hello and welcome to the Match Report. Happy days here on the Match Report, Coach. I can't explain why, but maybe we'll get into it later. Just maybe, just maybe, Coach. How you doing, sir? Are you happy? Are you happy this weekend?
How you doing, man?
You didn't answer my question, so maybe that was the answer I needed.
That is the answer to my question. Your question. See, you know what? How you doing?
I'm good. Jordan, how you doing, sir?
I'm amazing, Cahill. I'm so good, right? Top of the world, if not top of the league. So yeah, I'm happy. Happy days over here, brother. Happy days.
That's why you make the big bucks, Jordan. That's why you do TalkSport. That's why the quick witness. There you go, Jerry.
Yo,
oh dear.
Down there. Feeling blue, are we?
Good one.
Jerry, you ain't been on in a while. What's going on, man? What's going on?
I'm here. Listen, I'm great, man. I'm alive. I'm breathing. There's just things to be happy about and things to be sad about. It is what it is, man. But
feeling blue. But there's a team that made North London red. It was always red, Jordan. But you know what? You just added a little bit of splash there. We're going to start there. The North London derby. Arsenal 3, Tottenham Hotspur 1. The Emirates seems to be a fortress, Jordan. Especially when it comes up against the Spuds. I mean, what do you think of the game?
It was a great game, man. It was a great game, as you mentioned there, Cahill. Our record against Tottenham at the Emirates is pretty much flawless. We don't even draw with them at home. I think they've won once in like 28 or something at the Emirates. So our record there is pretty good. Even in years where we've been poor, we always beat them at home. We started well, as we do always against Spurs. We came out on it. I was a bit worried about there being some kind of like a post-World Cup, post-international break funk. None of that. It was a midday kickoff for me, but we were at it from the get-go. And I was impressed. I thought we played really well. The better team won. I don't want to hear this nonsense about the red card changed the game. Well, I think it changed the game. I think it affected the game. I don't think it changed the game. Although I'm not completely convinced it was a red. I think it probably was a red, but I'm not 100% sure it was a red. But, you know, we move. And yeah, you know, we go on. People talk about tests and challenges. Spurs, for all the banter we can have about them being a small club. They are a top 4 rival of ours. So we've come through that one. And I'm happy, man. We could talk about certain players that I think stood out in the game. But overall, I thought the better team won. I think we did it convincing. I will say this, though, and I know you're not talking about the Man United game or Manchester derby later on. I actually think the 3-1 defeat for Spurs flatters them more than the 6-3 defeat for United. Massively. Spurs were awful. Spurs were awful. Spurs were absolutely awful. I thought they got away with it massively. Look at the goal chance we created. Shots on their goal. Compared to what they actually did in terms of a threat. United were more threatening.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Spurs got away with it. But anyway, that's a different discussion. But yeah, I'm happy, man. I'm happy. What are you saying, Kale? How do you feel about it?
There's a lot of players I wasn't rooting for. And they're surprising me this season. They are surprising me. Well, obviously the biggest name there is obviously Granit Xhaka, who's pretty much turned his Arsenal career around. And you can't. Every time I see him, I want to give him praise. I want to be happy for it because you know what. But every time I see him, it just goes back to all the bad stuff and when he told the fans to do one essentially. And I'm just like I can't support that. But then again, we're winning. We're top of the league, and that hasn't happened in I'd say 10 years maybe. And it's we're playing some very good football. I can't complain about Mikel Arteta, even though I was on the verge of saying let's get this man out last season. He's really turned things around. On the red card, that was a red card, man. That was very dangerous. I can kind of see where people are saying that it's not as dangerous as led to believe. But then again, when you make that chance, when you make that tackle, there's always a risk of doing what Emerson did, and he pretty much raked it was Martinelli's ankle. Those can be ankle breakers, I believe. And at the pace the game was going, at the pace that Martinelli was going, it could have been a different outcome. So I believe that the red card was justified. But I also I agree with you. I don't think the red card changed the game. We were in complete control from minute one. On to your point of the total shots, 22-7. We had 60. Where is it? 64% possession compared to theirs 35. But then again, you expect that from Antonio Conte, and you expect that from his style of play. And honestly, I want to get on Spurs right now, and I want to go to you, Kojo, because you are the Spurs fan here. Let's
That's rude. don't have it, Kojo. Don't have it.
Spurs?
Wow.
I mean, I'm being honest with you, because this man Antonio Conte, he comes with a reputation of being a winner, and he wins through his style of play. But I feel like he's getting a lot away with murder here, because they don't play good football. They don't play exciting football. To go into a derby and sit 10 men or 11 men behind the ball like the way he did, with no plan of attack, just counter and try hit them on the break, which they did a few times, and they almost broke us down. There was a chance that I think it was Son had. No, it was Richarlison. Was it? It was Son and Kane, and where I feel like they should have scored, but they didn't. But apart from that, they weren't really threatening that. But I'm going to ask this question: if that was Jose Mourinho, does he get away with the style of play that Antonio Conte is getting away with?
No, they hate Mourinho for that reason. But the difference between Conte and Mourinho is Conte got top four, Mourinho didn't. That's all it is. And with Conte, the thing is, the style of football, he doesn't care about all of that. He's trying to play winning football. Spurs haven't played well this season, but they've been winning games. They've been getting results. So for him, if they went to the Emirates and didn't play well, but they got a 1-0 or 2-1, as soon as they got that penalty, they probably thought that was their chance to go and sneak a win and get out of the Emirates with a W. The second win in God knows how many matches between the two of you at the Emirates. So that's what he's looking for. But what really let them down was their final pass. And I keep saying this. Son gets away with a lot. Son has not played well this year. He came off the bench against Leicester, a very poor Leicester side. He scored a great hat-trick, by the way. Don't get me wrong. The quality of the goals were fantastic. But, there was a reason why he was benched at some point, because he didn't play well. And then he came into this game. Not only him, Richarlison as well. Their last pass were poor. Very, very poor. Even for the penalty, a pass into Richarlison should be a lot more decisive. And he played it very well wide, and they're very lucky to have created another chance where Gabriel made the foul. So I think that's where they really let themselves down.
Gabriel made the foul. What a fool Gabriel is, man. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, I don't know why he went down to ground, but that becomes it doesn't become a moot point because you won the game, but it's something that he needs to work on because he's been a bit complacent at times. But on Spurs again, it's that final pass. I watch them and I don't expect them to be creating many chances because apart from the front three, they don't have players that are built like that. Maybe Perisic as well, but that's about it. So that's what they rely upon: Kulusevski, Kane, Son, and hopefully Richarlison if he can produce. And their final passes were poor. So Son gets away with a lot. Son was terrible. Son was a strong 2 out of 10. A very, very strong 2 out of 10. Richarlison was a 0. And I'm not really going to put anything at the feet of Kane because the tactic was very clear. Kane drops a bit deep, gets the ball and tries to play some passes in behind, find the players because they got more speed, getting behind, and it just didn't work for them. So they deserve to lose. And Arsenal were, without a doubt, the better side. As soon as Arsenal went in front again, you knew the game was done. That red card just compounded it. So, yeah, they deserve it.
Gabriel Jesus, Jerry. What's your take on his start to his Arsenal career?
Great. Obviously, when you not signed him, to me, it made so much sense for Arsenal to sign a player like Gabriel Jesus. And obviously, this was his chance to finally become the number 9 at a big club. Yes, I've been to Arsenal, but Arsenal are a huge club. And he's got the 9, he's got the limelight, and his overall game is he's just a baller, man. That little dribble he did when he went through, I think 3-4 man. I think that should have warranted a goal, but unfortunately he toe poked it. But yeah, he's in my fantasy team. Yeah, man, he's the real deal. But that obviously, I'm biased. He's a very, very top player, man. And regards to the game, I've been watching all the content, obviously AFTV versus Tottenham TV, and I don't know why the Tottenham lot had chest for this game. I honestly cannot believe it. Like, bro, you ain't been Arsenal since, was it 2010? I think it was a Kabul header. That's the one time you've beaten them.
Yeah.
They came with so much confidence. I was thinking, this is the Emirates. When you lot get banged here every single year, like it's not going to change. And like you've all said, they ain't been playing well anyway. And Arsenal, to be fair to them, every game they've actually been on it. Like they've actually played. Obviously against us, you got the L, but you played. That is the way to lose. If you're going to lose a game, just lose it like that because you actually played. You lot were popping us still, but yeah, man, I can't lie. Arsenal, I'm starting to get. I'm getting nervous, man. I'm getting nervous. I know it's early, but I'm getting Leicester vibes. Like people keep saying Arsenal are gonna fall off, and I don't see it. I really don't see you falling off. I don't see it, honestly.
I think what Jerry says there is really important about how Arsenal played this season. But I've got like a 6-point plan written down somewhere of all the 6 things that I wanted Arsenal to do this season. Just the 6 things, and one of them was work hard. The reason why Liverpool and City have been so successful over the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years isn't just because they got bad boy managers, isn't just because they got bad boy players. They just outwork everybody else. Yeah. They outwork everyone else. Every player works hard. And my want for Arsenal is this year, I don't care who we play. I don't even care if we lose, but don't get outworked. Because if we work hard against every team this year, we will win 70% of our games, draw 10, 15, and maybe lose a couple through whatever means they may be. Outwork everyone. In every game this year, we have worked hard. Even the games where we've not really... What games did we play well? I can't even think of a game we've not played well this year, but we've always worked hard. And that, for me, is a good start for me. The second thing, regarding Gabriel Jesus, everyone's gassing him, talking about how well he was on Saturday, and he was really good on Saturday. He's been really good so far. Listen to this. I think there's more.
Of course,
more from him. Actually, people are talking about him like I want more from him. I was disappointed with him on Saturday, and people were like, "What are you talking about? He's one of the best 3 players." I'm like, I think there's 2 more levels to go with him. Honestly, I'm being real. So in that sense, I'm not critiquing his performance. I'm just looking at him thinking, as good as you're playing, and I'm not complaining.
He can score more goals.
More goals, more. I think he could. I think he could be the guy that is the standout guy on the pitch. Rather than the moment, it's him, Xhaka and Saliba. It's him, Xhaka, and it's Martinelli or Odegaard. I think he could be the guy in of himself. The other thing, going back to Granit Xhaka as well, the redemption story is mad because obviously we know how the Arsenal fans, how they felt about him, how they battered him, they booed him off, he did it rare. I think every game this year, Granit Xhaka has been one of our top 2 players on the pitch. If not our best player, he's been our second best player behind Saliba or behind Jesus or behind Odegaard. He's been our top 2 all season. And you've just told me, Coach, before we came on that he's won Arsenal's Player of the Month for this month. So for that turnaround to come around shows a lot. And the reason why this game was crucial for me was because I'm a big believer in lepers don't change their spots. You're fundamentally who you are. You can tweak things, you can be better, but you kind of you are who you are. Boy, he's kind of showing me, you know what, man can change. Maybe you can change because they're the games where I thought he'll do a madness, he'll do something dumb. And look at the I think it was the penalty that we gave away. Who gave it away? Gabriel. Just before Gabriel fouls him, Xhaka goes to tackle him and pulls out.
Yeah.
Remember, he pulls out. 2 years ago, he doesn't pull out.
It's true. That's
the foul away. He gives that foul away 2 years ago. So I'm like, boy, maybe he is learning. And what's mad about him as well, my final point, and I'll shut up. They're doing last-ditch tackles in our box, but yet he's running into the box, Lampard style, at the other end of the pitch. So I'm like, yo, how fit is this guy? This guy's doing damage in both boxes. Like, do you know what I mean? So, listen, we've got some players doing well, and I'm really happy. Having said all of that, Jesus ripped it up. Xhaka man of the match by Sky. The best player on the pitch for me, Saliba was really, really good. And let me tell you what he's doing. He's making Gabriel look bad. And Gabriel's not bad. He's a good Premier League centre-back. But Saliba is making him look kind of rubbish because he doesn't make errors. He always looks composed. I know he made an error actually a couple of games ago, and then I think he scored the following game or something. But so far he's not really made that many errors. He's making Gabriel look bad, and Gabriel's a good centre back. For me, the best player on the pitch was Saliba because he had Kane and the man in his pocket all day. But it was the air of calmness that he gives to our back line that I'm really impressed with. I'm not going to go too far yet on the whole comparisons with Van Dijk and Ferdinand because it's 8 games, like whatever. But if this trajectory carries on, this guy is going to do a madness this year. I'm telling you, he's absolutely. I love him. I love him. I'll shut up now. I love him. I love him. I love him.
He's great. He is great.
I just love him.
How you doing, Steve? Heaping praise on us. So the perfect time to join.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not? I did tell you many times last season, don't be so down on your manager. It'll come good. Did I not?
You did. But I mean, yeah, it has come good so far. I mean, Arsenal top of the league, Steve. I mean, I can't believe it. I'm pretty sure Jerry and Kojo can't believe it. I'm pretty sure Jordan doesn't believe it, but it is what it is. I mean, we're playing some good football this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For a start, you've not got Xhaka in a defensive midfield role, which just simply cannot work. He's doing what he needs to do, which is that magical. He has got a magical left foot. Doesn't matter what anybody says. He's looking for openings. He's bringing other players into the game. He's scoring goals. He's not finding himself last man. Just ask Diogo Jota how good he is at tackling, and you'll get to see that. So, yeah, very, very good from Arsenal so far. They are right now the best of the rest with regards to the Premier League. I think as this show goes on and we get into other things, I think each of us through a man can see the standard bearer. But right now, Arsenal are the best of the rest. They're the team that are the closest to Manchester City. And I've long been an advocate of giving managers time. You know, Klopp's the ideal example of that. His first season was far from spectacular. You give him a plan, let him implement his plan, you put infrastructure in place behind him that works, you back the manager and they deliver. All these trigger-happy chairmen, they find life difficult. So fair play to Arsenal for sticking with him. They're doing good things at the moment. They're good to watch. There's a really good feel-good factor down there. And the most important thing is, for the first time in Arteta's Arsenal tenure, I don't think they ever doubted they would beat Spurs at the weekend. I think they went into that game full of confidence. There's a different psychology around Arsenal at the moment, and they are nailed on for Champions League for me. Absolutely nailed on. They will. Jordan's shaking his head there. I'm convinced of it, Jordan, mate. I'm absolutely convinced of it. That was a big question. They learned from the United game. They went and played Tottenham, who on paper would have been a difficult game, and they controlled it from start to finish. The penalties are a rash challenge. But for the rest of the game, Tottenham were never in the game. They wanted to counter-attack Arsenal, and Arsenal stopped them counter-attacking because if you don't give them the ball, they can't hurt you. And that's a big difference in Arsenal right now from recent seasons, is that they know what they're doing. They've got an identity. They've got a plan. You can now say that they've got a system, but you've not been able to say that previously. So the introduction of Jesus, the introduction of Zinchenko, who I don't rate, by the way, but I'm being educated. I'm being educated by this one. The introduction of those guys has made a massive difference to the balance in the side, and who knows what you can achieve. I am absolutely convinced Champions League football is coming to Arsenal next season.
The reason why I've not got us in the top 4, and I haven't from the get-go, I've had us 5th pre-season, and I'm not convinced yet. The only reason, it's a long season, but we're still early. The reason why I'm concerned, and it's why I'm disappointed in the transfer window, how it ended, was our midfield. We've got nothing underneath Xhaka and Partey. Now, we know for a fact that Thomas Partey will be out for spells this season. We just know he's that guy. That's not like expected. We know that. And Xhaka, to be fair, game by game has proven me wrong. But my thinking was that he will get sent off at some point in this season. So he'll miss games through suspension. He's maybe proven me wrong there. But below that, you're looking at El Nene and Lokonga. And for me, that is a massive drop. I like El Nene. I like him. And Lokonga's not quite ready. That's a huge drop when you're playing the amount of games we're going to be playing this season. Even up top, Gabriel Jesus, our backup is Nketiah, a decent Premier League striker. But if Jesus is out for 6 weeks, 7-8 weeks, do you rely on Nketiah to kind of score the goals to keep you in a top 4 battle?
I hear you.
That's my only concern.
But what I would say is, whilst you've got them, You're making hay whilst you've got them in your side. You're winning the games.
Yeah.
So get the points on the board and then deal with the lack of availability later on, because all the teams around you will take points off each other, and that will negate that miss for a little while in certain games. I understand. Be interesting to see what he does in January, if anything.
I think just to respond to that as well, if we beat Liverpool on Sunday, I think we go 14 points ahead of Liverpool. Now, at that point, even though it's early and I don't get carried away, I look at the table after three periods: 10 games, Christmas, March. Those are the 3 times in the league where I look at the table and it means something. 10 games is a good measuring stick about, okay, 10 games are in, how are we looking, what's going on here? Christmas, we're halfway in now. Again, how are we looking? And March, are we going for top 4, title, staying up, whatever it may be? So, but if we go 14 points off the team that finished second, second last season, you're almost in a position whereby if you don't finish in the top 4, then because the narrative will be they should be finishing second or third. Forget top 4 fight; they should be finishing third, like lowest. So at that point, I would change my mind. On Spurs, I have no idea why they keep coming to the Emirates and playing 2 midfield. I have no idea. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. They've done it for the last 6 years. Poch did it. Jose did it. Nuno, they all do it. I'm like, why are you playing 2 in midfield against us when we clearly play 3? Like, we're pumped up already. It's so dumb. And for me, the Spurs thing is interesting because that brand of football with Conte, they sell it as it's winning football because Conte wins with it. It's boring, but it wins. Cool. Spurs fans, they won a trophy since like 1 billion years ago. So they'll take a League Cup if it's dry football. But my question to Spurs fan is, off the back of the game on the weekend, when you don't win the games, what then? Because at least with Arsenal, when we weren't winning games, the football was relatively palatable to watch. It was frustrating, it was annoying, but the football's decent. If you're playing bad football and you're losing, Jose 2.0. I like Conte. He's a big man. He's a great manager for me. But I just wonder to myself, if that football, to justify playing it, you have to win. But like Southgate in England. The reason why people give him heat from the Euros is, the football ain't great, but he's winning. He's winning. When he don't win, you kind of got nowhere to go. So if I'm a Spurs fan, I'm thinking to myself, this better bring some rewards quickly because it ain't good to watch. It ain't good.
Well, they'll just be grateful they don't play yourselves or City every week. So, they'll pick up their points along the way, that's for sure.
They will.
Mr. Pessimistic Jordan Bryan, man.
I just don't get carried away. I don't get carried away.
So
I think, but it's 8 games. I think
there was a stat that was hovering around on Twitter. I think it's if a team after this point has got 18 points, they've never not finished in the top 4. So I don't know.
We'll break that record. We'll break that record. We'll break that record.
In the back of my mind, I'm like, you know what? Arsenal are the team to break that one. But you got to believe. Honestly, I've not enjoyed an Arsenal side this much in a long while. So I'm here for the ride, Jordan. Just be along for the ride, man.
I'm running with it.
I get you being disappointed in the transfer window. I didn't like Nketiah. I still, the fact that he got number 14 disgusts me still. But it is what it is, man. But Jesus has to get injured. Partey will get injured, so I'm there. And Xhaka, he's not being the fool, but I like Lukonga. I honestly feel like in his first season he got a rough ride, especially considering he was playing quite well at the very beginning. And he got obviously ousted once the senior player came back. But I think if he was to step up for Partey, he'd be a decent general. And I think we'll win more games than we lose if Partey goes out for a while, especially with Jesus up the top leading the line. But anyway, 25 minutes on Arsenal. We're top of the league. Let's just end it on that high note. There we go. Arsenal there. Low notes now. Who we go into? Who we go into? I don't want to talk about Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. Chelsea won. Aubameyang scored a nice goal. It is what it is. Let's talk about
Sonny Gallagher. He's got a nice goal too.
Yeah, Gallagher did as well. Obviously, going back to Crystal Palace, they got the win. Surprise! It was a lucky win. They very, very lucky. They were quite poor that game. Let's talk about another team that was quite poor on the weekend, Steve. Let's talk about Liverpool 3, Brighton 3. I think the last person to score a hat-trick at Anfield was Arshavin. You remember that one, don't you?
Jeez.
It's only
You didn't
13 years ago, but yeah, I remember that one.
But I mean, Steve, it's all going wrong for Liverpool right now. I mean, goals from Trossard, obviously he's got the hat trick. Firmino's been the only bright light, I think, this season because he's been absolutely fantastic. Surprising a lot of us because a lot of people thought that he was finished. But Steve, what's going on at Liverpool right now? Because I imagine it's surprising to you as it is to the rest of the football fans.
Yeah, and there isn't one thing you can put your finger on. What I would say is we're absolutely dead in the centre of the park. There's nothing there. That will need to change. You know, as good a footballer as Thiago is, he's a 5 out of 10 at the weekend. He didn't impact the game at all. There's a lack of confidence, and I'm not just saying that because Jurgen Klopp said it. There is a lack of confidence. We've been searching for perfection for 5 years to try and match Manchester City stride for stride. And I genuinely believe over a period of time that takes its toll. And I'm not sure there's that much left in the tank for players like Fabinho and Henderson anymore. I think we've kind of reached in and stolen their souls with the amount of work we've asked them to do. It is a worry. What is it also a worry is you look at the sides like Fulham, and you look at the sides like Brighton, and you look at the teams that are not expected to challenge for things. They've been and bought athletic, powerful midfielders, which is exactly the opposite of what we've got right now. So you can get on the wrong side of Liverpool's midfield too easily at the moment. We're not intense enough. The press isn't working. Interesting point. Somebody said to me, "What was Mo Salah doing, running straight at that guy like Bruno Fernandes did when we beat United a few years ago?" I don't know where that comment comes from because all Mo Salah did was his part in the team press, and everybody else stood and watched. So when that happens, it looks absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
So everyone's thinking Mo Salah's just a headless chicken running towards the man. The rest of the team isn't doing what they're doing. We've got some problems at the moment. I don't know how we solve them. We're not in a title race. No chance we're in a title race. We've all spoken. I've even had conversations with Jerry about this. In seasons gone by, you could guarantee Liverpool would go win 10, 15 games in a row and play themselves back into contention. This team hasn't got that in them right now. So when Jordan says, if he ever gets reconnected again, when Jordan says we could be 14 points ahead of Liverpool, this Liverpool side isn't bridging that gap. So Sunday, I'm watching the game, and I'm ashamed to say it. On Saturday, I was thinking, oh, Man United could do us a favour here. Then our game, true. You clip that, I'll say you edited it. I'll say you edited it. And then when the game starts, I'm thinking, do you know what? I hope Manchester City win the league by 30 points and beat everybody. And my rationale for that is if they take points off everybody, hopefully not us, gives us a greater opportunity to secure fourth place. Because right now, I wouldn't say we're guaranteed of that. And we've got some pretty lofty ideas about who we might sign in the transfer window. If you don't get Champions League football, those conversations become a lot more difficult to have with those players, and they lose interest in you very quickly. So right now, it's a major concern for Liverpool the way we're playing. I don't think the manager's under pressure yet. If we lose to yourselves and to Manchester City and end up in the bottom half of the table and results don't go our way in the Champions League, Liverpool Football Club is a club that needs to earn money from going far in competitions because we're not bankrolled. So you sort of, we don't speculate to accumulate. We sign what we earn. We spend what we earn. Very, very worrying times at the moment for Liverpool. And Brighton gave a good account of themselves. Trossard's brilliant. I would imagine at some point Chelsea will come knocking on the door because of his relationship with Potter for Trossard. We're still looking at Caicedo, but I don't think he needed to do much at the weekend. So he didn't stand out for me. But there's an apprehension that is in the club, in the team, and on the stand in the terraces at the moment. So when we go 3-2 in front, instead of belting out "Ale, ale, ale" or singing songs about the players, the place went quiet whilst everyone sat there chewing their fingernails thinking, actually, can we manage this game? Can we manage this out and take 3 points? There was an expectation that Brighton would make life difficult for you. And positive things happen to positive people. So when you don't go approach the game in the right manner, the defending for the third goal was absolutely shambolic. You know, you don't pass men on without speaking to people. James Milner just goes walkabout because there's 7 Liverpool players and 3 Brighton players, and they're playing triangles on on our right-hand side. Surprise, surprise. We're not engaging the ball. We're not engaging the man. We're not closing down the options for them to pass. They try a speculative cross that actually goes between Van Dijk's legs because it comes through our right back and he doesn't see it, so he can't adjust. That then means James Milner can't see the ball till it's past him and Trossard's got to tap in at the back stick. That collectively is 5 or 6 people not doing their job properly, which is symptomatic of our season.
Jesus Christ.
I feel better now I've told you all that, you know.
Good, man. Let it out, man. Let it out. That's great. Considering what happened previous 3 years, I mean, it's complete opposites. We're in bizarro world right now. But Coach, I'm gonna talk about one point with you, and I can't believe you actually got to this point where Klopp might have to worry but look over his shoulder about his job. I mean, there's been a lot of speculation about not what speculation, but there's been a lot of.
Come on, FSG ain't sacking Klopp. They don't know football. They need Klopp. So all this pressure that people think that Klopp's under, I don't see.
Gary, you can't end up 8th to 9th place. And right now we're not even in 8th to 9th place.
You just gave him a new contract like a couple months ago. You can't afford.
I get that. I get that. But look at the form we're in.
Okay, you sack Klopp. Who are you gonna get? Who's better than Klopp right now?
I'm not suggesting for 1 second we should. Let's get this right. I don't think for 1 second we should be sacking Klopp. But media and being what it is, if we lose to Arsenal and we lose to Manchester City and we're in like 14th place, there will be a swell in the media that says what's going on at Liverpool, what's going on with Klopp. And I'm not suggesting for 1 second. I'd be mortified if we did. But we're not a club that goes and spends money we don't have. So if we're not in the Champions League, if we're not in a decent European competition, God forbid we end up in the Conference or the Europa League, that would be a catastrophe. You're better off missing out and then applying yourself to the league 1 game a week, trying to make sure you recover the ground. The issue here is that you can't go from 1 game and 10 minutes away from doing the quadruple to languishing in 11th place, 12th place, whatever it is. I don't even want to look. That's how bad it is. So I'm not sitting here saying he should be under pressure. I'm not saying he should lose his job because you're right. I can't think of anybody that will come in and do a job. What I want him to be is more ruthless.
Yeah.
Right. There's no old pals act. Look what happened to Arsene Wenger when he held onto the old guard for too long. It eventually comes back to cause you problems. That midfield, right now, I would forsake signing Jude Bellingham to sign 2 £65 million centre midfielders that can do the job.
That makes more sense. I don't get the Bellingham. I get he's a good player, but spending 130 on one player.
It won't be that much. It won't be that much. It'll be 90 million in the region of 90 million.
He's not a £100 million player, man. He shouldn't have.
Bro, was he 19?
Yeah. He
has a good World Cup. He's possibly going to go like this.
True. Yeah, it's true.
So, if you could go and sign Nicola Barella and one other for £65 million each, I can see the merit in that because if we don't improve and improve quickly, conversations about signing players, as I said before, become very, very difficult. And I'm not advocating for 1 second or starting a Klopp is under pressure campaign. That's just the way football works. And Liverpool is orientated by the money that it generates. Now, we've just become the biggest club in America outside of the MLS teams. Those are things you need to back up by continuing to deliver on the pitch. Or before you know it, Manchester United are back as the number 1 non-MLS side in America. Those things are important because they generate revenue. Getting battered every week by Napoli away in Europe and not giving a good account of yourselves to a good Brighton side, but we should really be looking to beat Brighton, especially now. Strange scenario for them. Their manager goes from a position of strength. They get him coaching they don't know. That could be quite underwhelming, but they responded to it and they performed well on the day. We should have been looking to take 3 points from that game. And we are tired of saying every single week where I work these days, one day this game is we're gonna kickstart our season, and we're gonna go on a run. And every one of us, to a man today, said, "Where's the run coming from?"
On Klopp, it's before I start, I don't believe in this whole like 7-year cycle where he apparently becomes crap and all that. Right?
It happened at Dortmund, so you know.
The proof's in the pudding, mate.
My issue with the Dortmund thing is, and with him at Dortmund was when he lost Robert Lewandowski.
Yeah, it was a wrap. It was a wrap.
I want to try and compare it to the Mane thing and sort of like building a team. Like in that window, he did sign midfielders. I think he brought in Ginter as well. Immobile went there, and a couple others went there, right? But it seemed like there was no like concrete plan with these players, and the start to the season emphasized that. You showed it because they lost a whole bunch of games within the first like 10, 11 games in the league itself, right? So I think we said it on this pod. When Mane left, I was like, I'm interested to see how he moves in the window after losing such a key man, because I know when you have such a settled 11 and one big player leaves, the idea is you bring in someone that can hopefully at some point take the mantle. And because Salah's such a goal scorer he's a goal scorer in general. The pressure won't be on Luis Diaz, and Luis Diaz enjoys his football. He's fiery. He's always attacking. But is he going to sign the right players? And when he said he wasn't, or that, I don't know if it's a board thing or him thing, they're not signing the midfielder thing. That baffled me. I was like, you can't go another season with this midfield, because yes, you did finish second behind a great Man City, absolutely. But Henderson, Fabinho have had their injury issues and coming up again. You can't rely on Oxlade-Chamberlain. You can't rely on Naby Keita to stay fit. You can't rely, and then I don't blame them because they're very young. But starting the season with Harvey Elliott and Fabio Carvalho as sort of like centre midfielders, you're putting them in a difficult position there. I mean, they're going to go out there, they're going to be energetic, they're going to do their thing on the pitch, but they're not the players you'd want right now anyway. If they can adapt and become centre midfielders, fine. But right now, the young guys that are still trying to learn their craft, and in a Liverpool team that wants to compete for every trophy, that got to every final last year, you want more than just those two in the middle of the pitch. Despite injury issues, yes, when people come back, they won't start, but can you rely on them to start? Another person that got injured was Konate, and we haven't seen Konate since July, I think, if I'm correct. And I said it, he is injury prone. He will have his injury issues because he's also very physical, and that kind of adds to it. It's part of his game, and it is what it is. So I've just been watching Klopp. I'm just like, how are you going to react to this? Because you can't also play the same type of football knowing that your squad is not available at 100%. So you got to find a way to get through things and navigate it. And I think he's not finding the cure. He's not the only issue. There's a couple of players out there that are just not performing to any standard right now. We can talk about Trent defensively. That's a broken topic at this point. He went out there and passionately defended the guy. And I heard the points, if he gives me instruction, that's his thing. But I'll always say it. My issue with Trent is not on the ball. It's off the ball. That's always been my issue. And it's the point where the guy just can't defend in positions where he should be defending. And then when he does something good, we magnify it. And we tend to do that for a lot of players as well, defensively, by the way. It's not just Trent. And Joe Gomez, Kale will tell you, I have never been a fan of that guy.
Yeah, no. No.
Even in the time with Van Dijk, where they had a great season together, I was looking at this guy, I was like, there's something off about this guy. There's something that's just not. I'm not looking at this guy and thinking, yo, you're going to be good. And he's been showing it this season as well in a few appearances. So it's an interesting time for Klopp. I want to see what he does in January. World Cup's coming. You're going to lose your boys for a bit. But I feel like I don't know, still, you know better than me, if the owners will back him in January. And
It could be a break glass option, to be honest with you, by January. It could be like do that or we're in all manner of trouble. The World Cup will be a great leveler. I think if you're in the mix for European spots, City send 14 players to the World Cup. What's the possibility of all 14 players coming back fully match fit and ready to go? But as things are, Arsenal aside, City could have put it to bed by the time in the next 6 weeks. If they win all of their games in the next 6 weeks, they're not going to fall apart.
Yeah,
They're not going to surrender. I know last season we shut down 14-point lead against them. We haven't got that in us to do that this season. So I think there comes in January a point where we have to look at it. And there's some suggestions that we might look at shifting Naby Keita as part of bringing the Bellingham deal forward. I don't see it happening, especially if Dortmund's still in the Champions League or still in a fight for Champions League positions in their own respective domestic league. Something's got to change. They might go and spend 50 million on Caicedo, who will bring that energy and that power to the midfield. It's sorely lacking at the moment. We're just too easy to play off our midfield right now, and I genuinely think that those two guys you spoke about, Fabinho and Henderson and Fabinho should be sharing the 6. For me, they should share the 6 role, so you get to rest them. We need to bring in somebody on the other side that's got energy, that's box to box, and we need to find a way to get Thiago back to dictating the game of football with the ball at his feet rather than it passing him by. And that's been going on a little bit at the moment. So you're right. It's interesting to see how Klopp deals with this. This is the first real test with the team he thinks is what it is, and it has been what it is, to fix. And if he wants to be revered alongside your Bob Paisleys and your Bill Shankleys as one of the greatest Liverpool managers ever, they reinvented sides when players got old and systems and things they wanted to do didn't work. They had enough about them to go and make the changes. Over to you, Jurgen, to find out what it is we need to do. Something clearly isn't right in the club at the moment, and we have complacency plays a big part in when things don't go well for Liverpool. It's typically because of complacency, and I think back to the West Ham defeat at the London Stadium last season, when Jared Bowen just basically ran through the middle and Fornal scored, and then they scored the header. We never looked like we'd win that game. So sometimes you can believe in your own hype. Sometimes you can think you're better than you are, and it's an old adage that the coaches amongst us will tell their children and tell their young players, you've got, first of all, you have to earn the right to play football. And it's an old adage, and it's very cheesy, and it's quite cliched, but in Liverpool's case at the moment, it's very true.
Is it a case of just freshening up that midfield? I mean, you tried with your front three, and it did work it worked. It definitely worked last season, but obviously you're missing Sadio Mane, who was a key component to your side over the past few years. You think if you do get Caicedo, your fortunes will change, or I don't know. I feel like this team.
We need two in the middle. We need two. You can't ask a player, and Jordan Henderson, and who's been with Klopp for all of it, to play 40 to 60 games a season for 7 years and then still come out of it as fresh as a daisy at the end of it. There's something to be said. And my friend wrote an article about semi-professional football where you accumulate a squad and you set about your goal, which is getting promoted, and you get to the end and you miss out. Invariably, that squad breaks up and players drift away and go and do something else. Professional football's different, but the psychology remains the same. You still sit there and go, wow, we came within an hour of being heralded by everybody forever because you did a quadruple. We haven't done it now. What's next? Where's your inner motivation? Because no one's ever going to do the quad ever now because the Champions League structure's changed and there's even more games. So that was the last possible opportunity.
Yeah.
It's interesting that just see Ryan's point there that people still relate to Mane. Our best player this season plays in Mane's position. Luis Diaz is our best player.
Mane wasn't fun though, Steve, at the end of last season because Darwin Noodles. That's Mane played a striker towards the end of last season, right? I think this season he probably would have started up front again, and then you've brought in Darwin Núñez, which I think is just. Wow, mate. If you want to talk to him, you can. But for me,
take this in the spirit's intended, Joey. I like you, and you know your football, but you can't judge a player on 260 minutes. And if you're doing that, then I can't help you.
Not judging, but from what we've seen, nothing is encouraging. Like, do you feel encouraged by Darwin Núñez? I know he ain't played a lot of minutes, but from what you've seen, it looks a bit like, for me, I think Jota should be your main number 9.
So what we're doing at the moment is we bought an orthodox number 9, and he went and headbutted somebody and got sent off for 3 games. Rocks for brains, absolutely gave himself no opportunity to. So what we're now trying to do, whilst we're under pressure to win games and games are drifting away from us, is find a way to indoctrinate him into the team and make it work in real time during games. And you simply can't do that, because somebody said to me the other day, and it's a really good quote, Arsene Wenger once said, whilst you're developing youngsters, you're going to give up points in doing it. And it's exactly the same when you're trying to create a new system. You will give up points in doing it. I totally agree with you that Jota should be playing through the middle. That doesn't mean anybody should write Darwin Núñez off, because he came to Anfield last season and he showed us what he could do. So where I'm going with this is 2 ways you can deal with this. Darwin Núñez was up front and centre of Benfica's attack last season, that they structured their whole team around him. He's not that same focal point for Liverpool. So you have a choice. You buy a player to play in your system, and you have to know that he can do it. And at the moment, the jury is out on that. Or you change your system to accommodate that player. But in doing that, you change arguably one of our greatest goal scorers in Mo Salah. You have to change his game. So you don't change it. So then you try and grow a little bit week by week by week. What I don't understand at the weekend was they equalised in the 83rd minute, and he didn't bring Núñez on until the 89th minute. So I don't get that.
That's strange.
That's a strange substitution, as was bringing on Milner for Tsimikas after an hour. Now, he loves the 60-30 thing with the fullbacks, which is why he was really key to have 5 substitutions, 5 subs available on the day, because he wants to do the 60-30, because he wants energy in the fullback positions. And it cost us big time, because Milner switched off and left Trossard all alone at the back stick for the 3rd goal. So I get that rival fans think it's funny that Darwin Núñez hasn't done Haaland, and to some degree, signed about the same time as City signed Haaland. We'll draw comparisons between the two. One's a freak of nature, is an alien, I'm convinced of it. And the other one is a lad who's trying to find his way into a football club. It must be difficult for him. But I'm not prepared to write him off after 265 minutes, and I don't think anybody should. Sometimes Thierry Henry wasn't great this first season. Ian Rush nearly left Liverpool in his first season. There are a number of strikers and a number of players who come to the Premier League, new culture, new language, new league, new setup, and they take a little while to bed in. But you're 100% correct, Jerry. The second Jota is fit, Jota is your number 9. You're right.
Was he not on the bench last game?
He has to come off midweek in international. He has to be substituted at half time, because he was he had a reoccurring injury. We sacked the club doctor because he said, "Yep, he's good to go. You can start training." And he broke down in pre-season and a reoccurrence of an injury. And Klopp's like, WTF? I won't swear on your channel, but Klopp's like, WTF? What the hell's that? There was a big row, and the club doctor was sacked as a result of it. So it's about managing his rehabilitation, and it will change the way he trains, and it will change his daily routine, because there's a possibility doing the things we've been doing with him, it could reoccur. But when he's fit, and that doesn't mean he's injury prone, just means you need to change his routine. Granit picked up a lot of muscle strains in Germany. That was more to do with his diet than anything else. And the injury that you referenced, Kojo, was he opened a knee joint, and I think he strained his medial ligament, but Liverpool never released that. In a thunderous challenge against Salzburg in pre-season. So, and that can happen. You're right, he's a physical player and he puts his body on the line, but I don't know if you guys saw, bumped into him a couple of weeks ago, and he told me that he was fit and ready to train again. So, Núñez is a watch and see. We need Jota fit, and we need to find a way to bring Salah and Diaz slightly more central, because they're both playing quite wide at the moment at times.
There's a lot going on at Liverpool right now, and it's going to be a long season. I think it's going to be a very long season. I honestly can't see you bridging a gap to top 4 maybe. And you, like you said, you don't want Europa League, because that pretty much leaves Bellingham on the floor.
I think we can get top 4. I think we can get top 4.
Only like 2-4 points.
They can get top 4,
Yeah,
They can get
they can
I think we can get top 4. Man City will run away with this at some point during the season.
How dare you? How dare you, Steve? Arsenal there.
You're quite a realistic. KL, stop this. You're quite a realistic guy, right? So, it didn't say pessimistic like you were last season. Quite a realistic guy. I think if Arsenal finish second to Manchester City, you will feel like we felt, which is it's no disgrace to finish second to what may well turn out this season to be arguably the best Premier League side we've ever seen. That guy's going to score 60 goals.
100%. 100%. And he scored 3 in a weekend. And that's where we're going to go to right now, because it was a very, very interesting game.
I knew
it was a very interesting game. I mean, Steve laid it up. I just slammed it home. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Manchester United, Manchester City, 6. Manchester United 3. So in the end, Kojo and Jerry, you only lost 3-0. You only lost 3. It's not a bad result at the end of the day. I mean, you were on Don Robbie's channel once again, Kojo. I mean, it must have been fun seeing Haaland and Foden put 6 past you, know?
You know what? I'm just going to be shameless for one moment. We've given you 6 and 8. But anyway,
no, that was a good time in the past. I'm talking about the present right now, Coach. You got slapped up, my friend.
No, we got done.
Embarrassed.
But your is, from the first minute, you could tell it's going to be peak. When Dalot made the foul, don't get me wrong, it was a foul. I don't think it was a yellow card, but, because it's his first offense. But, I'll talk about the referee later on. It's not the referee's fault. It was Man United lost, by the way, before anyone was there. But from the first minute, you could tell that we were in trouble. You could tell we were in big, big trouble. And my issue is with the midfield. And I'm not going to get onto Eriksen too tough, because Eriksen was poor. He was poor. But Eriksen's a new player in this midfield. There are 2 players that started in this game in that midfield next to him that have been doing this against City for a while now. And they keep getting away with, I don't know, being passionate or, because he scored goals 24 months ago that, Bruno Fernandes and Scott McTominay were a disgrace. And when I say that, when you go to the Etihad, the one thing you need to do, in fact, anywhere, number one first is be compact. That means in defense and in the middle of the pitch as well. United didn't do that. Number 2, the one thing you do not do, which me and Kale have been screaming about time and time again, is give players like Kevin De Bruyne the whole space in the midfield to play as many passes as they want and do as they please. The third thing you need to do is try and usher them out wide, because yes, they have got good players out wide as well, but the one thing you need to do is try and lead them away from your goal. And they didn't do all that. And the reason why the defense struggled so badly, the reason why Dalot and Malacia were making so many fouls, is because none of the midfield and none of the wingers were helping them. And that's point blank period for me. Bruno Fernandes and this whole false 9 pressing forward stuff that he does. I don't know if Jerry's noticed it. I'm sure Jerry's noticed it. Jerry knows his football. He might feel differently to me. But when he tries to press, he's the only one that does it, because everyone's looking at him thinking, why are you running? You don't need to press there. Where are you going? So you're even in the midfield as well. Scott McTominay keeps drifting out wide, like he's trying to be Scott Beckham, or I don't get it. Like, his positioning is so poor. It's so poor. So when Eriksen, who is our ball player, not ball carrier, but our ball player in the middle of the pitch, he's more out wide trying to play 1-2s with Malacia, and then when Shaw came on, or whoever was out wide with him, it's just not working. And because you're not doing anything offensively, defensively you're looking poor as well. You gave City the game. Like, City are really a good side. You don't need to help them do even more. And they started Ake and Akanji together in defense. Now, this is another reason why I was pissed off at them. This is a new pairing. Ake, by no means, is a good defender. No way. No one can tell me.
It's all right.
All right is not good. He's not a good defender. No one can convince me otherwise. Akanji, I always say it now, I'll say it forever. I do not trust defenders from the Bundesliga. And had
a decent game.
Huh?
You had a decent game.
No, I'm gonna get there. But this is my issue about the decent game. Look, I had man on the couch as well telling me, they've done well today. I'm like, yeah, they've done well because they've not been challenged. Yeah. Give me one Man United player that gave them stress. Not one. And in fact, the only person that gave them stress was Martial when the game was finished. So, the defense suffered and our attack suffered because we had a non-existent midfield that did niche. Now, this is my issue with Krillin, aka Ten Hag. Listen. Every time we lose, I'm gonna call him all the boldies. He's got TN so far after Brighton. He got who's the other Baldy in Dragon Ball Z?
Krillin, bro. That's so rude.
He got Nappa, and now he's got Krillin.
Dragon Ball Z list. Fair enough.
Next loss, we'll be talking about either Phil or Grant. I'm not deciding who yet. But, look,
he's more Grant. He's more Grant than Phil.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Grant. But look, my issue with him was this. Like, okay, I get it. The last 4 games were in form. We won the games in the Premier League. So you may want to continue with the form. I get that. But in a game like this, you got to start Casemiro. I'm sorry. Casemiro does not need an introduction to a derby when he's playing in Classicos, when he's playing in Champions League finals. And people talk about the pace of the Premier League and all that. He's also played Man City in Europe as well. They are European players. They know how to play the game of football. Play him against City. I think you have to start him, absolutely. I think he should start. The Ronaldo thing, that doesn't bother me. I know Ronaldo's not going to start under Ten Hag most times, so it is what it is. Would I have started him? Maybe for experience, but we weren't going to give service to him anyway, so that's just a non-factor. That don't mean niche. We were poor, man. Like, City were fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Like, no praise away from them. Haaland is stressing the hell out of me. Phil Foden is scoring hat-tricks in the derby as well. He's a boy from Stockport, so he's living his life. He's having a great time. But we didn't give them enough stress. And when the game was done, that's when we gave them stress. Who cares? 6-1, 6-3 makes it look like it's a crazy game. We all know, everyone on this platform, everyone that's watching this knows that we got slumped. Smacked up. We got absolutely destroyed, and we deserved it. But I'll say this as a final point as well, because as much as I got into Ten Hag as well, but I will say this. A lot of people are comparing or saying, like, look at how Arteta now knows his squad, knows his players. And my thing is, no, that's fair. He knows his team because he's been able to build a team after finishing 8th and 5th. He's been given patience. And because he's had patience to build a team, now look at Arsenal. Look at his play.
A low blow.
No, it's not a low blow, but it's facts.
Your jokes, man.
It's just squad.
I get you.
That's why Odegaard can be injured, and then Fabio Vieira has the confidence to come in and do his thing for Arsenal. You know what I'm saying? So, Ten Hag, you can't expect him to be doing miracles with players that are still letting you down, like your McTominays, like your Bruno Fernandes's, like your Luke Shaw's. I'm not even going to talk about Maguire. He wasn't there. The hair still needs to be replaced. So on and so forth. So, we were embarrassing, man. We got absolutely destroyed. That we deserved it. Jerry.
Go on, Jerry. He's sitting there glum, Jerry. And I'm trying to.
You see me yesterday. I didn't feel the pain. I didn't feel the hurt. Like it was kind of funny to me. Not funny, but like I was watching the game. I was thinking, like, yeah, man, this is just one of them games. Like I didn't feel like when Liverpool slapped us 5-0 last season. That one to the core, it hurt me. But yesterday, we just didn't turn up, man. And for me, it's one of them ones where I'm just taking it on the chin. It's an L. And then we just move on. I know it's a derby and people gas up this game, the Manchester derby, blah, blah, blah. But for me, we just didn't turn up. The midfield, again, in hindsight, you can say, yeah, Casemiro should have started. But for me, I was happy with the same team that's been winning the games. But then when you look at it, maybe Oli was right with the McFred thing.
Watch Jerry. No. I'm even stopping you there. That's ridiculous.
He's gone to the Etihad with McFred, Dan James, and he's pulled out results.
Because he had to.
No, it's not. No, it was by choice. He didn't have to.
Yeah, it was by choice.
It was by choice. Eriksen in the double pivot against a Man City team is going to dominate the ball. I mean, come on. I think it was when De Bruyne that cross to the back post. He could have took him down. He could have just took a yellow and stopped the attack, but he put his hands up, and I don't think Eriksen's that type of sort of player. So for me, it was either McFred or Casemiro and Fred. We had to kind of like park the bus for me. And we tried to go toe to toe with them. I mean, Rashford just coming back from injury. He didn't look quite off the pace. Sancho now, a lot of people have been getting onto in the United fan base. Now, for me, with Martial back, I think Sancho might have to take a seat. He might have to take a seat, man. I know he's having an all right season, but with Martial back, I'll put Rashford back on the left and then Anthony for me.
Jerry, hear me out. How about this? Because my issue with Sancho, I don't have an issue with. Well, no, I do have an issue with Sancho. I don't think he should be playing out wide on the right. I think he'll do better on the left. Firstly, for he's more like trying to cut in, link up, and that. But I'm interested to see him in the number 10 position, and the reason I say that is because I feel like he's a lot more of a, I don't like using the term, but a space investigator. You know, like
medial center. Is that what are you trying to bring that one back, Kojo?
Yeah, like, but he enjoys finding pockets in the middle of the pitch and then doing the little passes, maybe putting on shots, you know, a little bit of dribble. I feel like he's better in that position. Now the issue is obviously, actually no issue because Anthony's on the right. Anthony,
for me, he's got that nailed done. Like, even yesterday, he looked more on it. Like he was taking on his players, having shots. Some shots were kind of weird, but Anthony for me on the right, that's his spot. Martial coming on, and I know I'll be bad or tired of the group chat about the glue and whatnot, but I'm actually happy he's back. Because we've missed that focal point up top. And on the left, Sancho, I mean, I'm not sure, man. I think maybe a spell on the sidelines might, you know, give him that sort of fire that he needs to get back on track, because right now, like you look at the first goal, we was kind of through on goal. If he played that first pass to Bruno, it was Bruno and someone, and then he tried to dribble, and then we lost the ball, and then they went and scored. He's kind of laxy daisy. I don't know, man. I don't know what's happening with him, but for me, I think because obviously we lost to Brentford 4-0. Ten Hag made a lot of changes, and I think this defeat now, next game, I'm expecting to see at least 2-3 changes. To, you know, this season's about learning about the squad, figuring out who's good and who fits where. And we're kind of halfway there. I mean, I think Scott's done well, but I think now it's time to just, you know, take him out. He's done his bit for the season. just take him out. Put Casemiro in
for the season.
Yeah. Put Casemiro finally in because we paid 60 mil for him, and then even the fullbacks yesterday, Malacia. I mean, that Foden goal. I don't know how Foden got to the end of that goal, man.
Yeah.
I think he might have stopped running, but I was a bit like, Foden's quicker than Malacia, really? I'm not sure about that, but Luke Shaw, I can't lie, Luke Shaw came on and he did all right. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, don't fall for it.
No. Listen, Luke Shaw, when there's competition, I can see, even with England, he played well. And yesterday he came on and he had a few glimpses, but yeah, man, listen, it's just an L, man. We take it 6-3. It doesn't look as bad as it looks, and then we move on to Everton. Now we beat Everton, and then we're back on track, man. Listen, top 4's the aim. We're not Arsenal going for the league. Top 4's the aim. Make sure we get that, and then we're good.
You see, know your limits, Jerry. That's what.
Yeah, bro, top 4. I'm not gonna be top 4, man. Top 4. That's what we need to get back in the Champions League, man.
There we go.
I think I can't lie, bro. Hear me out. I think we need to start Martial and Ronaldo together. You know.
Bro, I said this to my brother today. I said, why can't we, you know, try a thing, but Martial on the left or
no, bro. Even do like a 4-2-2-2 kind of thing, bro.
So you want zero pressing from the front, right?
Hey, listen, we haven't pressed for years. And so for me, I'm not like I'm thinking. If I'm being honest, like. I'm thinking the usual back 4 that we have now. That's not including Maguire, by the way, for anyone that's listening. And then I want to put Casemiro and Fred together.
Yeah.
And now my front 2 is Martial and Ronaldo. And I'm not saying like that's a strict formation because they're intelligent footballers. I would expect them to know when to go wide and when to go here and when to go there. But the 2 behind them, I'd actually want to be Anthony and then Eriksen or Sancho. And the reason I'm saying that is because I feel like Eriksen will do a lot more damage going forward. Fred is the engine. Casemiro is obviously very intelligent. He's a ball winner. He breaks up play. He can play football as well. He can pass well. Anthony,
who did you say was intelligent?
Casemiro.
Oh, I thought you said Fred. I was like, oh, I had to double take.
I don't think I think Fred has a bit of intelligence. He's also very, very anyway.
Yeah, there we go. Anyway.
I don't use the insulting word I was about to use, so let's continue.
Don't use that. If I'm on the same wavelength, don't use that one.
Yeah. But I think we can't be afraid to try new things, because right now this is a trial season for Ten Hag and some of these players. And formation beginning at the game doesn't mean that's where you stay in, because if you watch City, a lot of players go out wide, a lot of players in the middle, the fullbacks always come inside, it makes it look like they're midfielders, so you're not always on a strict formation. But if you can build a team and have a team out there that knows how to work with each other and cohesion, and the funny thing about the Martial and other thing, Man United fans keep playing them off against each other, and I'm looking at them. I think those two have qualities to work together.
I don't think they played together as well. I really seen
No, they haven't. So why not give it a shot? And he's talking about Martial these minutes. You're playing Ammonia this weekend or this Thursday. Why not give Martial minutes and Ronaldo minutes in this game and let them see what they can do together? I think it will work. Personally,
do we want to risk that though? I'm not sure. There's a lot of games in October. I don't think we should be playing both.
No. But he's not going to play both. He's not going to play Ronaldo in the league either, and he's not going to start.
I'll start Ronaldo on Thursday, but Martial, I think I'll save him for the Everton game.
But I don't think he'll start Martial at Everton either.
So he's starting.
I think he should, but I don't think he will.
Nah, he has to. What?
I don't think he will. I think
Nah, man.
Everton's the usual front three, if I'm being honest.
Oh, nah, we need to change something, man. We need to change something. Because for me, Martial, like I said, we ban the tie all the time, but listen, we need him, man. We play better with him in the team. It's facts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, happy he's back, man.
Mandem, last question. This for everybody. Who's stopping Haaland, man?
No one.
That's what I was about to ask.
What's the point? Why are you asking that?
I was gonna ask Steve that. I mean, Steve, you mentioned he's an alien. You mentioned robot. He's something.
He's a cyborg. He's a
cyborg. He's something. All those words. I mean, how the hell? What's the question?
You have to stop their midfield to stop the service. That's the only way.
Yeah.
But when you look at what's in front of the back four, and you can play Nathan Ake if you want to, when you've got the likes of Gundogan, you've got Bernardo Silva, you've got Foden, you've got De Bruyne, you've got Riyad Mahrez, even Jack Grealish is getting involved in passages of play and looks a better fit this season. They could afford to let Raheem Sterling leave. There's not many clubs in world football that can give up on negotiating contracts and let a player of that standard leave, buy a player and actually look better the following season. He just gets on the end of absolutely everything. It's ridiculous. I mean, take the Dortmund game, for instance. John Stones' banger from 30 yards. The keeper should catch that. Never mind save it. It's terrible goalkeeping. The goal that Haaland scores, there's not a defender or a goalkeeper in the world that believes he's going to score that the way he did. That's very like Zlatan-esque against England when he scored that overhead kick from about 40 yards away. It's just got a little bit of everything, and 5 GA in a Manchester derby. That game had his fingerprint all over it. He's a bit of a freak of nature. He's quick as you like, great in the air, skillful, goes with both feet. The third goal, the technique is unbelievable because that ball goes in like a rocket. He gets his knee over the ball. It's just a natural footballer, and no one's going to stop him. And because of the number of games that they'll play, and they will have to rest him at some point, I don't think City win everything, but they will win this Premier League by a street. And then it's kind of become like a race with Usain Bolt, where you kind of think, I can't beat this guy, so guess what? I'm in this for silver. But there's a bronze and a copper medal as well, which have massive value to the teams below them. So if you're second, third, or fourth, it's a good season because you get into Champions League. There's not many teams, not many clubs out there now that are looking at this saying, right, we're going toe-to-toe with Manchester City for the title. The only people that can stop Manchester City winning the title are Manchester City. And it just isn't going to happen. And this will be 5 leagues out of 6.
Oh.
And it's setting a pretty yes, I know. It's setting a pretty dangerous precedent for the league. You know,
What's this, man?
we've all done it. I'm using it to make a point, Jay, not to have a pop at you guys. We've all done it where we've looked at other leagues and said it's become a procession, it's become boring.
Yeah.
So the razzmatazz and how we dress up the Premier League will always be exciting. The reality is, it's not. It's boring when one team wins everything, and unfortunately, this is Liverpool's situation. Unless you're going to fight fire with fire, and you're going to abandon this frugal business model that we've got, and we go out and we spend big, because they do spend big. Then you're always going to be playing catch up. They've got 2 quality players pretty much in every single position. Look at what goes on in front of the back 4. You guys have been quite hard on Man United tonight. I don't know why, because they'd have beaten anybody by 3 or 4 goals yesterday, the way they played on the ball going forward. So that one needs to be put in a box, buried in the back garden, forgotten about, and then you move on, because they were that good. They were that good. They'd have beaten anybody by a streak yesterday. So sometimes you've got to watch around. Liverpool have lost 4-0 to them before. Not when they were pissed after they won the league, but we got battered at their place 4-1. Sometimes when things work for them, they're literally untouchable, and they're actually better now than they've ever been, because they've got a focal point as a threat. And like you said, Kojo, Foden's getting hat-tricks in a Manchester derby. So they will. It's a matter of when, not if. They will win this. I genuinely believe they will win this league. For Arsenal, it's about being in the top 4, because that's a massive step in the right direction. For Manchester United, it's about trying to get into the top 4, because that's a massive step in the right direction. And for Liverpool, it's about trying to get into the top 4, because that would be a successful season, given the enormity of trying to shut down the gap between everybody else and Manchester City, which is insurmountable. You can't do it.
I'm running out of like things to fight Man United's case, because if they win 3 titles in a row, then I'm going to be.
We're doomed. If Pep decides to say, you know what, let me just pass Fergie for bans. What can we say?
But this is what I'm saying, like we're the only team that done it 3 times in a row twice. Cool. But then if they do it, then I'm gonna be like, okay, you want
to do 4, 5, 6.
No. We've done it, but we did it under when it was called the First Division.
If we were just talking only Premier League.
No, don't do that. Don't, Kojo, you weren't born in 1993, so don't do this.
Okay, right. But if in terms of the Man United Man City rivalry, if they done 3 titles in a row, they're gonna be like, okay, we done 3 titles in a row as well, but we also had the Champions League to it. Where's your Champions League? But then if Haaland gets them a Champions League, I got nothing to win. I got nothing to win.
You know what?
No, I say if because
if they win the Champions League,
you just don't know.
We're all in deep trouble, because they'll go to a level they don't understand exists, and then we're in big trouble then, mate.
It's what if they win the Champions League. Haaland is.
No, other clubs, man. There's still big clubs.
Haaland is breaking all the records this season.
The reason why I say if is because, like, I feel like in recent years we've got to a stage where, like, we expect, which is fair. There's always big challenges for Champions League, but we expect certain clubs to be winning it, and City have been a major shout for a long time. And I get that Haaland wasn't there, but there was also almost like an expectation where it's like they're going to win it, like it's a given, or Liverpool are going to win it, because obviously Liverpool have become a force of nature again, and they were getting Champions League finals, and whether they're winning or losing them, regardless, they were there. You know what I'm saying? So there was an expectation, but then Real Madrid were winning it, as well. You know what I'm saying? And no one expected this Real Madrid to say it. I shouted at Real Madrid almost in hope that they stopped Man City or Liverpool or City winning it, and they did. But that was just in hope. It wasn't a genuine shout that they're going to win it. So it's a maybe, because Champions League is also 2 games when it comes to knockouts.
But there you go. That's my point. There, it's similar to when Liverpool, last season and the few seasons prior, when Liverpool were playing. It's like, how are you going to stop them 2 games in a row? My question is, how are you stopping Haaland 2 games in a row? 2 games in a row.
You go back to the game against Real Madrid. Manchester City should have been 6-0 up by half time, but they couldn't finish. So if you put that variable in that side, Real Madrid is not in the game.
Do I need you? I just need like a Manchester babes to go and distract him from his football, man. I've had enough of this.
It ain't happening. My guy said, was it? I don't know if it was real, but that God did. God did. Boy, I feel that man is laser focused on.
He needs one Christina to just go on,
Christina. Okay.
Christina Thomas. To go on.
He gets an injury every season, man. Let's just hope that injury. No, I don't want to say it sounds kind of bad, man, but he gets an injury every season. Let's just hope it's a bit longer than as usual, because this guy, man.
And guys, the only reason why there's a question mark, and there'll always be a question mark over Manchester City in Europe, is Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, PSG, teams like that don't have the psychological issue that the Premier League teams have, where they're beaten before they go on the pitch.
Yeah.
And a Bayern Munich side firing on all cylinders with the players they've got will ask massive questions of Manchester City's back four. So it will become the battle of two attacking forces and which defence holds out the best under pressure from the other one. Looking slightly further ahead, let's say Jude Bellingham decides Real Madrid is his destination. You've got a midfield three of Bellingham, Camavinga and Tchouaméni going forward, with Vinny Jr. on the left, Rodrigo on the right. They will get Mbappe and Haaland at some point, because Haaland's got a release clause in his contract. So he's not looking at spending the rest of his career. He'd be quite happy to go there at some point. Militao is a superb defender. Mendy and Carvajal are great. Full Courtois. The only question is who plays alongside Militao in their defence.
Yeah,
for them to have a Harlem Globetrotters Manchester City type squad, if they get those players, it's quite frightening. That
who's going to play next to him, Steve, in the next few years?
Yeah,
it's got to be there we go. Thank you. Yeah, it's got to be Saliba. It's got to be.
Get my head.
Well, where's that? I heard you talking about him when I came on. No one knows where that guy's ceiling is right now.
Yeah,
you don't know how good he can be, but the early signs are very promising, aren't they, for Arsenal?
No. He failed the Rashford test. Allow it, man. You got spun, bro. You got spun, bro. So let's relax. Let's relax
just for that. All right, Joe. I'll let you have that one because you have been.
I like Saliba though. He's been in my fantasy from day one.
There we go, man. Yeah. Bringing you hella points. But I'll let you go out on a high, Jerry. Just because I know you're feeling a bit blue, bit down. When you were getting piped 6-3. So just for today, I'll let you be happy and end it there. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for listening, watching. But of course, we can't finish without telling you guys where we can find these guys. So Jerry, start first. Where can I find you, sir?
Twitter handles on the screen. United Team Talk on the YouTube, and yeah, man. Listen, United will be back, man. Guys, don't worry, man. It was just a blip. Sunday we go again, man. Arsenal, you see, Arsenal fans, why are you not scared to say you're title contenders? I just want to know.
Because they're not.
I know, right? Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean?
No, but everything I ask.
Do you know your second place favourites? There are no title contenders.
Yeah.
So are you going for the league?
No. See, Haaland will pipe us home and away. Wow. So it doesn't matter.
You're not just scared, man.
We're not scared. Scared of what? Scared of what?
Scared of Haaland. Don't lie.
Scared of Haaland. Yeah.
Everyone is.
Yeah. I'm not doing a 21-1 type situation, Jerry. Like
you see last year, yeah? But we was top in January, so it made sense. You lot are doing it in October, bro. So
you said why Arsenal fans are calling us.
I actually want to know why. Like some fans are not on it. Like you might as well just jump on the wave, man.
Yeah, man. We're happy.
Top of the league chance at the Emirates.
We're happy because you're top of the league. That's why. But anyway,
why are you saying that if you're not
going to go? Man, we're trying to quit here. We're trying to go home.
Sorry. Yeah, YouTube and the Twitter's right there.
There we go. Steve, where can I find you?
Get me on my social or coming over to Red Men TV, where we're trying to make some sense of what's going on at Liverpool Football Club. I might add with absolutely no success, but with doesn't stop us trying. All kinds of stuff, watch-alongs and all that good stuff. So if you're a Liverpool fan and you're watching this, come and join us. We're doing a competition. We're just approaching 500,000 YouTube subscribers. And the winner, we're going to have a draw on the day when we get there. And the winner of that will win a signed Ibu Konate home shirt. So get involved in that. Just press the subscribe button. It don't cost you anything. You might win a shirt.
Kojo, you want that shirt, Kojo?
You can find us on audios at Free Midfield. You can find us on the socials at Free Midfield, apart from YouTube, which is the Match Report. And yeah, end the podcast, man.
End the podcast. How rude. How rude of you. But this has been another episode of the Match Report. Good night.